I have a PhD in electrical engineering, and people are like, well, what's that got to do with chemical engineering? But I studied a field called MEMS in my graduate studies, and I put together chemical process sets for doing semiconductor processing. So I studied a lot of chemistry and chemical processes back then. And then I went on to Siemens Corporation. They funded the tail end of my work after my PhD, and I was at Siemens, and I was an innovator, and I was in charge of looking at how to commercialize technology within the Siemens ecosystem. So it's an unusual role where you're looking at both doing commercial R&D, and then also looking at, could you create a company out of these technologies and bring them to market? So along the way, I sold my first company, and then I started looking at the cannabis and hemp market. And I started back in 2014, but my two business partners, they were involved earlier than me, and they were Special Forces veterans operating a cannabis lab in Wenatchee, Washington, making oil. And I started going to see them and said, hey, we should do something in the market together. This would be fun. There's a lot of innovation needed. There's a lot of green grass out there for us to explore. So I started a company with Paul and Noah some years ago. And what we did in order to start out is we were helping people look at the design of their manufacturing facilities. So particularly what we were doing is we were looking at everything from industrial farming up to where you make a product for retail, all the stuff that had to do with making concentrates. And we were helping people with their facilities, basically equipment specifiers, facility design. And as we were doing this, I was monitoring in the back end what new technologies could be used. So I was utilizing my experience as an innovation manager at Siemens, the kind of experience I had, to go hunt in other vertical markets, such as the edible oils, the pharmaceutical market, oil and gas, and say, could we find some processes that would help with the scaling of the cannabis and hemp market? So along the way, some of the research that we did has led to the founding of Ecosce. And in particular, what happened was I ran into Kumar, who just talked, about a year and a half ago, and I started talking to him about what Evonik had done with the nanofiltration technology. And I said, wow, that's really novel. Let's see about how we could apply this into this market. And what I saw the gap was Evonik was making the membranes, but they needed someone to design industrial equipment. So that's where I came in and helped with designing this equipment. So in the end, what we do is we were a lot of experience in facility design, and then we jumped in as an equipment manufacturer to help bring the nanofiltration technology to the market.